4.5 hours ago, I left my hotel. Good morning from Swansea Beach. I do like walking on the beach first thing in the morning. And to be honest, after the weather from yesterday and last night, I'm very grateful to be able to be walking down here at all. Didn't have rain in the night. A lot of high wind as well. But it's quite lovely down here, it really is. I've got to avoid getting my feet wet. Dear. I had this problem in A Coruña last year walking on the beach. I was a little too close to the sea. But it's absolutely lovely here, it really is. On this rather breezy and bright morning. Now the idea for today, or the plan for today, is to walk along the coast, following the old railway line down towards the Mumbles. There's Oystermouth Castle down here and down towards the Mumbles. So all depends on the weather. We've had a huge downpour this morning about an hour ago, about 8:30 in the morning, and the temperature, well, 14 degrees is the predicted high. So for the middle of June, it's terrible weather. I expect this in November. Perhaps I should come back in November and bask in 20-degree sunshine. But we're going to walk down to the Mumbles. We'll see what we can discover down here. As I say, following the old railway line. Hopefully we'll come across a few railway features, old railway features if they exist, and we'll just have a wander around. I wasn't sure I was going to make this video because the weather forecast was so bad, gosh. But get off the beach and see what we can find. A little way further down the road. It's a rather interesting old bridge. That's to be part of the old railway line. There was a sign which said Swansea Mumbles Heritage Line. And this was, I think, St Helens. There's a sign back there which said St Helens. So perhaps this bridge was part of the railway, or part of the platform area. There's no information other than a sign which said St Helens to actually say what it was, which is rather disappointing. Hopefully they might put some signs in, but there's a sign which actually is pointing, road sign which actually pointing towards St Helens. So it might have been a walkway over the station. And it's just the steps that have survived. But it's nice to see them. It's beginning to get a little windy as well. So I'm not sure how far we're going to get. But we'll keep walking and see what else we can discover on the way down to the Mumbles. If we get that far. The actual railway line was 5.5 miles long. And there were 7 stations. So I'm guessing St Helens was probably one of them. But there's no information plaques up to actually tell me where the stations were and the names of the stations, which is a shame. The line opened in 1807. It was in use by a single horse-drawn carriage. And by 1929, it was electrified with trams. And the service eventually closed in 1960. And on the front of the wall of the football club opposite, there's a nice depiction of one of the trams. What has brought me down here is this statue to Swansea Jack. And Swansea Jack was a retriever who saved 27 human and 2 fellow dog lives from drowning. He died on the 2nd of October 1937 at the age of 7 years old. And his owner and trainer was William Thomas. And it's absolutely lovely to see this little memorial. One of the first stories I heard when I started coming to Swansea 4 years ago was that of Swansea Jack. It's only the second memorial I think I've seen to a dog on my travels. The first was in Edinburgh last year, and that was Greyfriars Bobby. And he features on my Edinburgh video. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But let's walk on a bit further. And there's a really nice war memorial here. And it commemorates all those from Swansea who lost their lives during the Boer War campaign in South Africa in 1901 to 1902. The monument was unveiled in 1904 by the Mayor of Swansea, Griffith Thomas. It's a very fine memorial with the statue of the soldier on the top with his rifle and bayonet. Really fine memorial. You don't see many memorials to the Boer War. They're usually erected sort of 1920s to commemorate the Great War, 1914 to 1918, or the First World War, as it's now referred to. But it's nice to see that. Just walking a bit further and see what else we can find down here. I've been walking for about an hour. It's so enjoyable just walking around and seeing what I can discover, despite the wind. But you can see from this section of the old railway line that it used to be a railway line, because there's this fantastic iron bridge. It really is. Just looking at it, absolutely brilliant to see it. And it still survived after all these years. But there's no information plaques up to tell me anything about it, when it was made, who it was made by, which is a real shame. I think they could do so much more with this heritage trail. I did see an information plaque yesterday while I was walking around Swansea, just past the Golden Bridge, heading past the museum. It was by the road. Perhaps that was the first station, and the information plaque marked the line of the route, or the end or the beginning of the route. Perhaps I'll discover one further down the road here. But it is disappointing, because it would be so nice to sort of do the trail and follow the information plaques. But so many places these days don't have them, which is a shame. But I'm going to continue my walk down towards the Mumbles and Oystermouth Castle and see what else I can discover on the way. Didn't look too far on the map. I'm about halfway. I passed a signpost for Blackpill, and now I'm down here at Blackpill. And there's a little QR code on the signs. And you scan that with your smartphone, and there's some information about the stops. So there's a little map here as well, which shows just how far I've come from Swansea. And the first map I spotted yesterday was Rutland Station. So it's quite a way down, but there are some information plaques here on the wall, which is quite nice. And it's starting to rain as well. I just made it to Blackpill Park, and the Lido in the middle of the park. And it started to rain. There's a cafe here as well. I got myself a cup of tea. Oh. And it's at times like this I need a cup of tea. And this one, well, it tastes even better because it's been sponsored. So thank you so much to Clive Marchant, who went onto the Buy Me a Coffee link, which you'll find in the description, and purchased a coffee for me. Today, I've got a cup of tea. And after the morning I've had dodging the showers, it's lovely to have a cup of tea that's somebody has sponsored for me. It's really, really nice. And if you'd like to sponsor a cup of tea or a coffee or something else, use the Buy Me a Coffee link and you too can get a mention on my channel. But how much further down am I going to go? The sky does look rather grey. As I look over, yeah, it's still raining a little bit. But I'm going to keep going and see how far I do get. I like to get down to Oystermouth Castle. Yeah, if I don't actually make it down to the Mumbles, but I'm going to have a good try. But it'll only be the weather that stops me. But I'm sitting here by this information plaque, and it shows some of the tickets that you could have purchased back in the day for a tram ride down here. There's also a timetable from 1938. Well, February 1938. So it's nice to see that. I'm just going to sit here for a while, take the weight off my feet, and finish my cup of tea. It stopped raining and the sun's come out as well, much contrary to the weather forecast. I'm not complaining because the wind has dropped as well. That's nice. Look across the bay and I can just make out the tall building in Swansea, just next to the Marriott Hotel where I'm staying. It's the tallest building in Wales. But I've come down to another station. This one is West Cross. And, yep, nearly at the end. I'm in the Mumbles, at least, which is good. And there's a plaque here as well to Amy Dilwyn. I mentioned her in my video from Swansea the other day. And there's a plaque down here. It's nice. Nice to see that she's remembered here on a plaque. But I'm going to walk even. I'm going to walk. I don't work. I don't like work. I'm going to walk a little further down and try and find Oystermouth Castle. It's quite big, so I shouldn't miss it. Find Oystermouth Castle and then head on down into the Mumbles itself and see what we can find down there. But the end is in sight. Only a few more stations to go. I can complete my journey along the railway line from Swansea to the Mumbles. And I've made it up to Oystermouth Castle. And what a beautiful castle it is, looking at it from the front. First Norman castle here dated from 1106, when the Normans captured the Gower. The Gower is this region of Wales. It's had an interesting history, and there's a survey in 1650 which described the castle as an old decayed castle of no use, but of a very pleasant situation. Yeah, I'd agree with that. It is very pleasant looking at the castle. And what a great view overlooking this part of the Gower. Really is lovely. But I'm not going to go in today. There's other things that I want to look at in the Mumbles here, and then I need to get back to Swansea. I have a few little things to do there as well. So there are so many castles in Wales, and I dare say on my travels we'll find some more as well. Well, we will tomorrow anyway. We will tomorrow. So I'm not going to go into this one, but I'm so pleased that I've managed to make it this far. But I want to complete my complete the trail of walking along the railway line from Swansea down to the end here at the Mumbles. So I'm going to head back into the town and try and find the end of the railway. 4.5 hours ago I left my hotel, not sure how far down I would make it. The weather started off very unpredictable this morning, had some rain, and at last the sun has come out and I've actually made it to my destination. Behind me is the sign which says Mumbles Railway Station. Mumbles Pier. There we go, Mumbles Pier. I've had a really enjoyable morning, and looking across the bay towards the tall building, I can see just how far I've walked in that time. I didn't really know what today would bring. I just know I wanted to walk down the Mumbles. Everyone says, must go down the Mumbles. And now I've been down the Mumbles. And it's absolutely lovely down here, it really is. Especially on a sunny day. And especially after yesterday's weather. Dinner have come down in the afternoon and throughout the night as well. But I'm so glad I've done this. And I've seen some great history on the way for the old railway line as well. There's a surprising amount that's still intact, and the line of the railway as well, it is possible to follow it. Had I known I would have actually make it this far and the weather would behave itself, I'd probably have started at the very first station. But I did walk past there yesterday afternoon. So I have actually seen that where that station was. What a lovely walk, and I can recommend doing it if you've got 4.5 hours to spare. I'm so glad I stopped off at that cafe as well. Had a cup of tea. That was really nice. It's at times like that when you need a cup of tea. So this is where I end this video. Thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow we head westwards towards Oystermouth and visit another destination. Well, I'll tell you about that tomorrow. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow my journey, because there's plenty more to come in this series, and there are plenty of other series on my channel for you to watch. We'll see you tomorrow.